Hi everyone, this is Grace. How are you? As you know, according to this book, we would be living up to age 100 and we would be working until age 80. The fact that we would be living all the way up to age 100 is a good chance for us to redesign our lifestyle. The reason is that in a traditional lifestyle, or I don't know what to say, but people used to retire around age 60 or 65, and then they usually expire around 75, 80. So in that era, the people like you or me would just take care of your children, and then you take care of your aging parents. But aging parents don't live too long, maybe 10 years, 15 years after they retire. So you don't have to worry about too much about financial things. However, if they were to live 100 years, they have to worry about not to run out of their life savings, but also our generation will be a sandwich generation. We have to take care of the younger generation, but also we will sandwich by the older generation. Make sure if they run out of money, we have to take care of them too. So that's why it's so important for our generation to be able to redesign our lifestyle, and we have to plan ahead. And today, I don't know if I can put it right, but I hope you would enjoy today's video or live just as a cultural story, okay? Nothing personal, and I'm not making any claim, and it's just a story about some of my personal friends or somebody that I know. I believe when people achieve their financial goals, then their next interest or their next target is how to give this money or company, whatever, to your children or grandchildren. I think that's a natural instinct that you achieve first, whatever, then you like to give what you have to your children or your descendants, right? And now here is the issue, or here is the problem. It is nice if you can mix with your children. And maybe half of the people have a good family relationship, but on the other hand, there might be the other half of the people, either their marriage is broken, their family is broken, or their children are not what they wish. So they have some issues that they have what they have achieved, but they just cannot give it to their children because they are not mixing too well, or some miscommunication, misunderstanding. Then what would you do? In Japan, there are old companies, and some of the old companies that was established over 100 years. In Europe too, there are companies being around over 100 years, and usually they go by generations. They are owned by one family, and they just hand down. And some company still relatively new. The founder, the first generation, start the company, and then the company become already Fortune 500, something like that. And then when the founder or the father retired, two kind of founders. The majority of the founders, they let their son to take over. But there are a small number of founders, even though they have a son, but they would let somebody else to run the company. It's their personal philosophy and a personal belief. But in your situation, it's really up to you. And as much as possible, it would be so nice that you and your children have such a good relationship so that your children always stay with you, learn from you how to run the business, how to deal with employees and the wives, so that your children were learning from you ever since they were small. And when they graduate from college, they are already wiser than other new college kids, so that they are ready to take over your company. Or still you would send their kids to your friend's company to let them get more training before your kid come back to your company to really take over. And this is one of the cultural things, but I have seen some of the Asian big company owners, usually they have more than 2 children, right? Because they say one is heir, the other is spare. So they have more than 2 children. And this particular overseas Chinese family, they are very funny. Every time their baby is born, they hire Chinese astrologists or fortune tellers to read the kids' future. And then they would try to see which one should succeed them. And then one thing I admire or I think it's interesting is some people are very open-minded. They are not particular about the first son. And I think it's a good idea because sometimes your first son may not be the best kid, you know? Or sometimes even the girl can be more capable than the son you have. So I think it's very interesting and cultural. And even in Japan, this is just a general talk, but even in Japan, you think Japan is a male-dominant society, but it is quite interesting. The Tokyo, the east part of Japan, and Osaka, Kyoto, the west part of Japan is quite different. And I am from Osaka. The west part has been the ancient capital of Japan, whereas Tokyo became a capital of Japan since Edo period. So maybe Tokyo has been the capital of Japan maybe 400 years, whereas us, Kyoto and Osaka has been ancient capital. So like 1,600 years we've been the center of Japan, right? And again, this is just a cultural information. And we are quite different the way we do business. Traditionally, this is only traditionally, so there's always exception. But Tokyo people, they believe it has to be the first son take over the business. Whereas west part of Japan, Kyoto and Osaka, we are quite different. We think the daughters are more important. Of course, there's always exception, right? But we feel daughters are more important. So Tokyo people or the Tokyo business owners, they really take care of the first son, because first son is the heir. The second son onward are spares, right? So they really train the first son to be a successor. And there is a quite difference in terms of the treatment and the training, the way the parents talk to them. Traditionally, there's always exception. In today's modern era, it's been changing. Whereas Osaka, Kyoto, they really take care of the daughters. You know why? And I think it really makes sense because it's the daughter will have babies, your grandchildren, and it's your daughter who would raise the children the way you raise her. Because your son will be married and even son will have your grandchildren, but it will be son's wife. Your daughter-in-law will raise the kids. So there you go. Your family tradition will be stopped right there. But in Osaka and Kyoto, we take care of the daughters because we know it's your daughter raised your grandchildren in your family tradition. So that's the difference. And traditionally, the Kyoto and the Osaka, the small business owners or business owners usually select the best employee within your company and have him marry your daughter, so that the company-wise, your successor will know how you do the business, and then you would select the best employee to be your future son-in-law, and then will marry to your daughter. So the daughter will take care of your grandchildren. Well, that's kind of a traditional way for Kyoto and Osaka people would think about family succession. Isn't it quite interesting? And some of the Chinese family, it's limited to the Chinese people, the wealthy Chinese people that I personally know. When the children are born, again, they hire Chinese astrologists and check the kids' future or luck, and they might think, okay, this kid has the best luck and the best, body chemistry with us, the parents. So they will appoint this kid to be a future successor. Isn't it funny, something like that? But I think it's really natural. Once you achieve your personal financial goals, your next goal will be how to give it to your children or how to pick your successor. So I just want to share with you some of the cultural story. Okay, that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.